Each year, a faculty speaker is chosen by a vote of the students of the graduating class. This year's graduates overwhelmingly chose Professor Khiara Bridges, a superb teacher and scholar. Professor Bridges graduated as valedictorian from Spelman College. She received her JD from Columbia Law School and her PhD with distinction from Columbia University's Department of Anthropology. Professor Bridges teaches criminal law and family law at Berkeley Law, among other classes. She is an outstanding and beloved classroom teacher. She has written 3 books and many articles concerning race, class, and reproductive rights. Her scholarship has appeared in the most prestigious law reviews. This year, she was chosen by the editors of the Harvard Law Review to write the prestigious foreword to this year's volume, which I've heard being described as like being elected to a Hall of Fame of law professors. Please join me in welcoming Professor Khiara Bridges.
So all crimes have 2 elements, actus reus and mens rea. In the next section of the course, we will be, sorry, wrong note, sorry. Okay, what a wild ride the past 3 years have been. You all started law school in the before times. You did a full semester of in-person classes, and 37 of you learned criminal law from a hilarious, sharply dressed, super young professor. Then you started the second semester of your first year of law school, and you were just getting into the swing of things when the world turned upside down. That is a direct reference to Hamilton. As many of you likely know, every respectable commencement speech mentions Hamilton at least once. So the world turned upside down in the second semester of your first year, and you were forced to enroll in the Zoom School of Law. Your 2L year arrived, and it was just one Zoom room after another. And then 3L happened, and you were finally able to have a full year of in-person classes, with the exception of that weird month of January. Resilient. The fact that you are sitting here today in all of your cap and gowned glory means that you are resilient, and I applaud your resilience. But if you bear with me, I want to make a case against resilience. What do we even mean by resilience? Sometimes when we say that someone is resilient, we mean that they are tough. We mean that they are able to withstand adversity, trauma, and tragedy. And if that is what resilience means, then you certainly are that. You have weathered so much adversity and trauma over the past 3 years. Indeed, many of you are here despite tragedies in your life. So when I say that I want to make a case against resilience, I don't mean to deny that you are resilient as in tough. But I just don't think we should have to be tough all the time. I think we should actively work to create a world where our survival does not depend on whether or not we can be strong for long periods of time. We should be able to be soft and tender and vulnerable. Not 100% of the time, of course, but like often. We should have to be tough only in exigent circumstances, not every second of every day of our lives. Needing to be tough should be the exception rather than the rule. And so, as you embark on your legal careers, I want you to know that it's okay to not fail and to not be tough all the time. And I want to encourage you to use your legal expertise to fashion a world that allows people to be delicate and sensitive and gentle. Now, at other times, when we say that someone is resilient, we mean that person has bounced back. They went through something difficult, and then they were able to almost immediately assume the form that they had before the difficult event. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. I really do not think we should try to be resilient in that sense of the world. I want to make a case against resilience. Like all of you, I retreated into my home when the stay-at-home orders were issued in March 2020. I remember going days without leaving my house. I remember going to the grocery store to get food, and half of the shelves were empty. The toilet paper aisle was definitely empty. I remember going by the shuttered doors of the restaurants where I used to eat lunch and dinner, and I remember longing for a meal that I didn't have to cook myself. I remember Zooming with my mom, dad, brother, and sister in South Florida and wishing that I could just hug them and be in the same room with them. And I remember distinctly longing for the way things used to be. I remember wanting to go back to the way things were. You know, the days when I would wake up and hop on the BART and go take ballet class and a hot yoga class, you know, maybe both. Then grab a salad from Sweet Green and a venti iced tea lemonade from Starbucks. And then change into an amazing outfit with carefully selected accessories and killer heels. And then head over to teach at Berkeley Law and teach those classes that I so love to teach. I remember desperately wanting to get back to the way things were, y'all. I was hoping for resilience. But I really don't think we as a society should try to achieve resilience. I don't think that we should try to go back to the way things were. The way things were was so unfair to so many people. The pandemic presents us with this terrifying and magnificent opportunity to do things differently. For example, we could be resilient when it comes to the way that we provide health insurance in this country, and we can keep our two-tiered healthcare system. This is a system that provides fantastic healthcare to those with private insurance and terrible care to those who are publicly insured or uninsured. Or we could try not to be resilient and decide to erect an equitable system. We can be resilient when it comes to the way that we have treated the environment, and we can keep extracting and exploiting and polluting and encroaching, or we could not be resilient and recognize that our survival is wrapped up with the health of the planet. And we can be resilient when it comes to the stories that we tell about poverty. We can continue telling the same stories that we have always told, stories about how poor people are poor because they are lazy or don't like to work or promiscuous or criminally inclined or like handouts, or we can allow the pandemic to inspire us to tell different stories. These different stories would explain poverty in terms of jobs that used to be there, and then for reasons that have nothing to do with the effort of the worker, just go away. Poverty could be explained in terms of interrupted supply chains that increase the cost of goods, including basic necessities like food. Poverty could be explained in terms of illness, be it physical or mental, and the inability to access the health care that can help manage the illness. Poverty could be explained in terms of large-scale, macro forces that are well beyond the control of any sole person. I think we should try not to be resilient. I think that we should try to do things differently. And in the spirit, of doing things differently, I'm not going to end my remarks by telling the same joke that I always tell to the class of 2022. You know the joke, the one where I say that I have a special place in my heart for the class of 2022 because you guys started at Berkeley Law when I started at Berkeley Law. You know, it's the joke where I say that we all entered Berkeley Law in fall 2019 at the same time. We were all in our early 20s. We were so young. We did our first year together, our second year together, and now we are finishing our third year. We're all in our mid-20s, wrapping things up. Yeah, I'm not going to do that joke. I'm not going to be resilient when it comes to that joke. The poet Rumi once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." COVID-19 has wounded us. What a gift. Let us let in as much light as we possibly can. Do justice, class of 2022.